as you can see, the account page right now is empty. So you're gonna make it from this one to like that one. And to do that, first of all, we need to make a lot of scenario to work it together. So I'm gonna close everything. Let's go back to our directory. I'm gonna minimize all, and from the app, I'm gonna go in my client, and as you can see, the admin, and we have the account, right? So instead of having that particularly like blank, we should be having a layout right here. So in that account, I'm going to create a new file which is going to be for the layout.tsx, and that should be coming for the account layout. Okay, so now we are having a main layout already. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna make that a root layout. So root layout, and that should be coming a simple function. Let's say return from here, and I'm going to return a div. Inside the div, I'm going to return our container, and on that container, let's say having a p tag hello. Okay, so that would be our normal things, and also going for the export default, and that should be calling as root layout. Done. So that layout should be a passing within that account parameter. You can see the hello is right here, and what we need to do is that we need to bring back our children. So all the page props should be coming directly within that children property. So children, and that could be, let's say, should be coming from react.react node. Okay, and after that, if I just pass that children, you can see the children, it will be available beside that hello account page. And what we need to do, as you can see, we have that highlighter, so we need to go on that. I think pretty much we are calling that in a lot of other pages, we'll find it. No, yeah, we need to create a lot of pages. So we need to go and eval that shop, we need to go and eval that card. So everything, I think a lot of things is pending, so which we can now carry on together. So the very first instance is what we need here, our user, right? So that we can like explore our user data, and for that one, I'm going to make it an asynchronous, and then we're going to get that const user should be is equal to await, and that should be coming from current user from Clerk Next.js, right? So now we need to, I think we already having the middleware, which is already set, so it's good to go. And yeah, we are protecting our route, so there will be no issue. So what I'm gonna do, just put a class name right here, and that should be, now I'm going to align it all together to let it work. So I think I'm having a little issue with the global CSS, so I'm going to go in my settings here again, and let's try that Tailwind CSS as I changed it before. So I need to redo again, and here instead of this one, it should be, let's say, app globals.css. I think that should work. And now if we coming back, let's say should be bj. Okay, still not finding it, so that should be app globals.css, right? So that should work. Oh, globals, that's one S is missing, so it should be tech white. Okay, as you can see now, I can find that. So that should be tech white, and also min height should be screen, and then a padding top should be 4, and padding B should be 8, just to give a little bit of room. Now what we're gonna do beside that container, I'm gonna just remove this parameter right now, then we're gonna pour it again. So in the container, there should be a div. On the div, there should be providing a card from the card component, and then providing that card contained. And on that particular card content, I'm gonna take another div here, so that should be a div, and then going to contain another div, and here we're going to pass the user dot if we have that image URL, and we're going to passing that image URL for there, or we can directly pass that image. So as we're having the image, we can pass that. The source should be providing that user dot image URL, and beside that, the alt tag should be coming, let's say the value should be a flag two together user dot first name, or if this is not available, then we're gonna simply pass the name as the user for the alternative tag, and it should be a fill, and the class name should be let's say it should be object cover. And let's see if we can see our Okay, as you can see, we need to also put the host name directly here, as we are just pouring the parameter from the images. So now what we're gonna go and do is that we're gonna go directly in our next config.ts file. Over here we can do this pattern. As you can see, already having here for the Sanity, and here we need to also add another protocol, which are going to be for the protocol for our image.clerk.com, which is coming from directly here as hostname. If we reload, it should just take in spaces to work it together. So let's just get reload, and beside that we can now start building our other parameter. So now if the image URL is there, then we can pass the image URL, and if it's not there, sometimes maybe the image URL is not available. What we can do simply a div here, and then not divide, we should be having a div, and here we're gonna just pass that user icon from Lucid React. And that icon, the size should be, let's say, 40, and also we're going to provide a class name. Text should be gray of 400. Now yeah, our image is broken already. We need to fix a lot of things here. So what I'm going to do to make it better, I'm going to go from the top, and we're going to come in as the div class name, and there should be max width should be 5 pixel, and also MX auto to keep everything at the middle. And for that curve class name, margin bottom should be 5, and also we're gonna go for the curve contained over here, and that curve contain gonna contain gonna get that padding of 6 altogether. Should be coming a flex column, MD should be flex row, and MD should be items center, and justify between, to just keep separate together, because there should be coming as our like, say, you can see that there should be coming for our user image. It's just broken. It will come together if I reload, and the name and then the logout button. That's what we are creating right now. And then this div here, where class name should be flex, and then should be a flex column, MD should be flex row, and MD should be items center. And beside that, I'm going to provide a gap of 2, and MD should be gap of 6, because it's going to be taking a side by side. And for the class name, I'm going to make everything as a relative here, which should be, let's say, 24. Height should be 24. Round should be full, and overflow should be hidden. So our image going to get a side, get its position. This is the same place where the image should be. If I just go inspector, and I think it's gonna coming from the caching error. If we just get that, it will work. Anyway, I'm not looking forward to work on that, so that should be aligned together right here. Yeah, it's still broken. I think there is some issue with that. Okay, so now this is my image, right? This is my logo as it's coming through. So now what we can do right now is that also for the icon here, because we need to keep it together, so we can just simply pass that. So now if we just go and make that null check, we can see what we are looking forward. You see, that will be our icon for the default, like fallback. Now after that parameter here, so after that initial div here, we should be having one more div, like that should be calling that one div for that, and there should be another div which gonna just simply call that, let's say, it's gonna coming for that sign out button, right? So that button should be coming from the Clerk, and here we're gonna just simply pass a button which gonna say logout. So that is one thing. So this is the button, and that should be, let's say, there should be the content or whatever is that. So that's the one which we are looking forward to. So this is the simpler and a similar, the one which we are just building right here. Now what you're going to do right here is that for this button here, we're going to just simply go and provide a bit of class name, so that it's going to be having a little bit a good fashion to provide the name. As you can see, that's a very simple and minimal configuration. Text is the base text, font semi-bold, and then underline offset is 4, decoration is 1 pixel, hover text that should be take orange, hover effect provided, empty is 2, and empty devices is empty is 0. Now for that content property here, we should be providing an h2. If so, now we're going to contain that user.firstname, and then we're going to also gonna get that user dot, it should be last name. So the username, it would be provided, And as you can see, I want that one to take entire room, right? So that could be negative to the bottom, right? So how we can pass that value together? Okay, we can fetch that, and we're gonna do that. First, we're gonna pour in the data right here. So over here, for the class name, text should be, let's say, I'm gonna make it a 2XL, font should be bold. Okay, that's the one thing. And after that, for h2 tag, I'm gonna get another one, which gonna be that user dot should be email addresses, and that could be a multiple email address instances. So you're gonna get the 0 index, and there we're gonna get the actual email address which we wanted to show right here. And now there, as you can see, if we put a class name and make it a flex one, so that it's gonna take the entire space together, and it should be I think why is not taking that. That okay, I'm gonna coming back to it later on, because we are not looking forward to have that. It should work perfectly fine. So now put a class name over here. In the class name itself, we need to provide that, just I'm going to provide that for a text parameter. Text should be grade of 600. Oh, so that's our text parameter. After the p tag, we should be another p tag, and that would be calling that member since, and over here providing the new date, and on the date parameter should be coming that user dot created at, and if it's not available, the created at should be coming as an empty value. And then we're going to provide that to local date string. That's it. So we should be having a date when the user is joined in our application, right? For the class name, put a class name, text should be sm, text should be grade of 500, and also margin top should be 1. Now you can go through together to providing your own color sets, but I'm going to go in a very minimal way so that I can get the parameter how we can just assign it all together, right? So it just depends on you how you are looking forward to have it done all together. Okay, so now if we just go directly right here, so I want it to be, put a class name, let's say bg of rate 100, because I want it to be together so that it's not squashing it together. So this is the div 1, this is the div 2, and this is the div 3. So now it's not working because I didn't make the justify between. So should be md justify between, so that it can push it all together. And when we made that, it's still not working. Let's say bg rate of, I'm going to provide a bit more color. Okay, should be taking that full weight. Still, this is an yeah, now it take, yeah, okay, it's going to be cool. So now what we can do is that we can go together and we can partially bring it all together with a separate div here. Okay, and once we do that, I think it can work in a different way. So what I'm missing here, it should work what we did previously. So I think this is our div parameter, that is our another div. Okay, I'm gonna just return back my previous value, and over here that should be the actual div parameter, right? And that should work properly. Okay, sorry, it's not here. Okay, I think instead of passing it like that, we can also do one more parameter here. As you can see, we need to put that image and text all together, right? So we can just get that within a div, and that's it. We can wrap it all together. So that could push through the others right here. So what we can simply be done here, put a class name, should be a flex. And as you can see, it will work together and should be, let's say, flex item should be center, put a gap of 5. That's it. So we can now get our value here, or we can make more gap if you wanted to. And as you can see, okay, cool. I think that's doing fine thing here. And for the width height, okay, I think it's 20 fine, or you can just reduce it if you are looking forward to. Okay, so now what we need to do as in that instances, we are having that card, right? But we now, after passing that card content, we need to pass our children to be seen here. So whatever the page we are rendering, it should automatically showing right here. And before that, we should be having another parameter called that account menu, so that will hold our entire menu setup. And as you can see, if we go to orders, automatically is picking up the way it's supposed to be. So that's what we need to create, and also that breadcrumb we need to also assign it all together. And how can we create that account menu? So to do that, we also need to create a component which is going to help us to build or create that parameter. So what I'm gonna do in that components, we're gonna just go in our pages. In that pages, we're gonna coming out for our, let's say, account folder. On that account should be passing that account menu.tsx, and let's say create an account menu page or FCE. So now we can very much connect that account menu right here. So that should be our account menu props. Okay, that's we are not using, remove it. So now we're having that our account menu it all together, right? So now what's also be coming it all together before going so far, as you can see this together, this is the menu pattern, and that should be coming side by side. So whenever we are getting the pages coming at the bottom, so it should be like whatever it is be coming side by side. So in the account menu, what we need to create is that we need to create a certain properties by which we're gonna show all the things or all the details. So in the account menu, we're gonna create an account menu array. Okay, that should be a simple array properties which you're going to define that. I'm going to explain to you what actually we are building it all together, but no worries, you're going to find it a very simple and useful to build. So first of all, I'm going to just get the icons from that React icons. I think that's the all icons I'm using. Now what we are doing, as you can see, that's the value. So that's the one which I'm adding right here. So just putting an icon, putting the profile, like putting a title and href. So first is title is that orders, and icon is getting the IO bookmarks icon. Href should be coming account/account/orders. You need to be careful with that. And for the title, the card is an independent card. It should be not be in the account. So the card, it will be directly facing to the card. And for the edit profile, going to be the account edit addresses, account address, wish list, same thing, directly getting for the wish list transactions, account transactions, tech points, account tech points, codes, account code, add. That should be creating a new pages which we're going to implement later on. So now what we can do right now here, as you can see, I'm going to make the entire segment right here as a use client parameter. Why? Because I need to check in which route I'm right now. According to that route, we need to minimize that. As you can see, that should be coming like that. So that all together need to be coming in a very good fashion, a very good parameter. So first of all, I'm going to go at my account menu. Over here, I'm going to just take the path name, and the path name should be, let's say, use path name from Next navigation, and also coming that router should be coming from use router, gonna also coming from Next navigation. Don't pick it from the next router. Both things should be coming from Next navigation. And after that, also what we can do, we can just simply pass a variable here which can define if we can just simply pass the path name. If the path name is equal to, let's say, gonna coming that /account/account, which is gonna actually the genuine path name, that should be returned now. So it's gonna position like as a home page parameter. And then also we need to make that const current page and current page, or we can just simply pass that. It should be coming together as a function right there. So as the current page should be the accounts menu dot find item dot htap. So whatever the current menu, remember we are showcasing here, and then it's selected. So that's the one. If you click on addresses, address is selected. So that's the one which we're gonna implement, and that's why we need to have that certain fashion or certain motion. So right now that is where we can find that current page, which is the current page right now. And also whenever we click, that should be changed, and it should be pushed the value to the router dot push. So whenever we're going to click, as you can see, it's going to pushing through directly the value on that account. So that's what is actually working with that. So right now, I'm going to go and make exercise something. So first of all, we're going to provide a border here. So should be the border. And then the border B should be, okay, let's need to be initializing with the class name. So border B, and also padding bottom should be 2. That's just an initialization. Now nothing should be appearing because we don't have any content and width height. So first of all, it can be contained with a mobile and medium. So let's say medium screens. So that should be coming with the select parameter. So that's where we're going to build everything. So we're going to provide a div. Here we're going to provide that select value. So should be coming from, and be careful once you are importing. So I think I need to go backwards, and whenever we are selecting, as you can see, there should be, I think it's already taken. It's coming from the Redux UI React select and the components UI select. Always choose the component UI because I'm not directly using anything from the Redux here. Now over here, we're going to just put that select trigger. And that trigger going to trigger whatever the value we're going to selecting, and then we're going to having that select value, and also the same thing gonna coming from there. And actually pretty much things is that it should be hidden for the LG screen, or we can just come by later on, because that should be we need to first to see some value, right? So that should be the for the mobile screen. So we're gonna just make that like a large screen parameters, let's say, and that should be calling that original menu. So we need to have that first, then we're gonna come the rest. So here we're gonna have a div here, and there we're gonna make that account menu dot map, and that should be taking that item, and we're gonna also get that index. You can also get the title over there to just to go and do the hit, but I'm gonna take the index. And over here I'm gonna passing that a link parameter, which is going to coming from the next link, and in that next link parameter we're going to simply pass that, let's say, should be coming that item dot icon. So whatever icon is handling right here, and for the key should be item dot, let's say, not the key, I'm going to provide the key as the index, and for the href should be item dot href. That's it. Put save, and we should be able to see the entire icon properties here. And these icons, it will it's gonna render or not. There is something, or we can just simply pass that item dot title. Okay, I think something stuck here. I'm gonna reload the page here to see if it's working or not. Okay, this is our account page, and nothing is visible right now. Let's say put a p tag hello. Is it coming though? No, nothing is coming. So this is our account menu tab, and here is our account. Are we doing everything okay? Should be, everything should be okay. Let's say hello. No. Why? What's wrong here? That should be appearing right here. Am I missing something? Some properties maybe, or some conclusion maybe. Let me see what is happening right here. It should be coming directly here, as this is the account menu, right? So here should be our account menu tab. So let's go back again. Okay, it's nowhere to be seen. There's a pretty good debugging option is right here. So what is actually happening, or we can just simply pass. I'm going to log through directly here. Nothing is showcasing here. Is anything we are doing is not right here? So I'm going to comment everything. Okay, so okay, we are making some mistake here. What is the mistake which is happening right here? As you can see, select change prof. So that's the function which we are created. So now what actually is not rendering? Okay, if I just remove that, if it's good, I'm gonna see which one is making the problem. Okay, the problem is created from there. As you can see, if of the path name is equal to account /account is returning the null value. So this is the one which is gonna creating the issue right here. So we are now happen to be in the page of /account. As you can see, that's the page which we are landing on. So I'm gonna just right now I'm gonna keep it just simply normal. Later we're gonna implement that. Okay, now we are cool. So that should be removed and that should be removed. So you can see the debugging option how is going to work, because this is simple. This is simple because as you can see the path name that is simply working, it will return null because we are / there, and that should work perfectly fine in the first instances. Now, if you find that one beforehand, let me know in the comments. I think you should find maybe sometimes when you're coding, it can be having a minimal effect to make a mistake. So I'm going to by default make it as hidden. LG should be a flex, and LG should be, let's say, flex. I'm going to provide a flex wrap parameter. LG item should be center, and LG I'm going to provide a gap of 5. Okay, that's it. So this is the one which it gonna contradict altogether. But now we need to make it a much more bigger and better. And for this one, for the class name, I'm going to make okay, before doing so, I'm going to go directly here. I'm going to take a span tag here, and I'm going to put that icon within a span tag. And also I'm going to go, because right now, as you can see, this is the value, right? Oh, yeah, that should be happen to be the value. But am I missing something? Should not. I should not have to be missing. Let us find that. If we go right here, after that, I also bring back the title. Actually, we are on the right track, because as you can see, okay, just go back there. But we're gonna coming back in the account page. There should be a separate. So this is the route is coming in that account /account. So that is the route which we're gonna provide from that account page. So that should be our, let's say, account page. So let's say there should be providing that route setup. Otherwise we're gonna just keep that like that. So that's the where we're gonna coming back with that property which gonna be returning the null. So that's, I think it's gonna be a little bit complicated, but it will make sense whenever you gonna use to it. So for the class name, we're gonna go directly here with the Cn property. So let's say Cn, and over here, what we're gonna do directly here is that we're gonna first provide that text should be LG, and also we're gonna provide that hover effect, because we're gonna coming up with a lot of property ratio here. And over here, we're gonna pass that if item.href is equal to, let's say, it's gonna be as the path name thereby, then what it's gonna do, and otherwise what it not gonna do. So if that one is together right there, what it's gonna make, we're gonna make the text should be take okay, should be coming that text should be take underscore orange, and otherwise it's gonna just providing that, let's say, text should be take under, okay, need to be putting in the string, text should be take underscore dark, I think so, and it should be coming within a 50% opacity. And then whenever we want to group on hover, it should be that text should be take orange. I think the orange. Okay, so right now it will not be visible here, but we're gonna coming through together because it doesn't have any orders, like it doesn't have any account parameter right here. And for that instances, put a class name should become should be already in the class name flex, should be coming as that item center, and the gap should be 2, and that should be coming as a group. Okay, that is going to be as a group parameter. As you can see, hover effect going to work in the similar fashion as we are having that title. You can also wrap through within span tag, and in that span tag, it's gonna be coming as a similar parameter of that, just coming in a text as a font semi-bold hover effect. As you can see, once we hover, it's not there because it should be coming something like that. Okay, that's what we're going to implement right now. So whenever you're going to coming back in the smaller screen, it's not there, right? Only in the bigger screen. So what we're going to do right now, once we are happen to be in the smaller screen, it should be something similar of that select parameter going to work over here, and that parameter going to be passing that value and other props. So now what we're gonna do in that select value, we're gonna pass that, let's say, current page, and that current page, if there is the current page, we're gonna return a div within that parameter. So in a div, and on the div, we're gonna having an span tag, and that should be taking that current page dot icon. And also if we just save it, we should be seeing that current page dot icon. Okay, that should be similar of that. Okay, we're gonna make it, and after that span tag there should be one icon, and there should be, let's say, another span tag which gonna come in that current page dot title. So what actually we are meaning to make that this one should be showing here whenever the current page is activated till the bigger screen. So that is what we are going to build right now. So let's go in the in that particular div here. For the class name, LG should be hidden, so it will not be seen in the larger screen. And then also for the selected parameter, let's say the default value should be whatever the path name is. Okay, should not be in a string, because we're going to provide the path name value property, so that should be the default value. And after that, and as you can see, there should be nothing at all, because the current page parameter, it doesn't have, as you can see, the current page account menu.find item.href is equal to path name, and there is nothing as an account. So what we're going to do first instances, we're going to create a certain account, like let's say a common page here, which can really provide what we are actually looking for. So let's say we're going to create a page called orders. So over here in the account, so this is, I think, not here in that account, so that is gonna be our entire segment. We're gonna create a page which gonna be orders / page.tsx or fce. That should be our order page, or you can see, yeah, orders page. So right now, if we go directly over here, if we click on order, we should be coming back within the order page, as the / route should be bringing us this page initially. So is it working? Yeah, we are now in the order page, right? So now we can be seeing, it should be visible something right now. Okay, what we're gonna do, as we are having the path name, we also can just provide that on change parameter, which gonna be, let's say, on value change, and that should be handle select. That should be just simply passing that parameter. So that could be providing the value props. So right now, as you can see, I think I think for the select trigger, that should be a placeholder. Okay, that should be, I think I'm missing something. That should be select trigger. Yeah, put a class name with, I'm going to provide a full width, and hover cursor should be pointer, and then over here the select value, put a placeholder which gonna be saying simply as that select menu item. Okay, so the current page, I think we are having the current page, right? So in that current page should be having something. Put a class name, flex item should be center, and gap should be 2 altogether. And where is the value? I'm gonna just providing that a bit of style right here. Okay, so that should be the style property. Right now still we doesn't have anything, because as we didn't provide that content right here. So the select value is coming after the select trigger. We're gonna having that select content, select content from the components, and over here we're gonna provide that select item, and on that particular select item provide a div, and the similar parameter which you're gonna provide the span and other tag, we're gonna just bring it all together in that live parameter. So okay, I think we need to map through first before bringing that together. So this is the select item. We're gonna just go directly off that accounts menu dot map and bring everything as item, and also the index parameter, and then return that value. Should be coming a div here. So let's say it would be a div, then bringing it all together. Okay, it should be coming a div here. And for the select item, for the key parameter, let's again, I made a mistake. That's my bad. The select before select item, we should be passing that accounts menu.map, and everything gonna come in like that. And over here, we're gonna pass the value as that select item. Okay. So right now we're gonna pass the div, and then we're gonna provide our pouring, or we can just go one by one. So no worries about that. Let's just having a p, provide that hello text. Hello. And over here on that item, let's just put some key, which is going to be our index, and the value should be let's say it's gonna providing that item dot href. So that would be the value for it, and put a class name, and that should be hover cursor pointer. That's it. So right now, as you can see, we can see the hello, all hello is coming all together. So instead of that hello property, we can now bring our span property like the way we did at the bottom. So that's the same thing, the class name and other parameter should be aligned it all together. You see, that's the same things which is happening. And for the class name, the similar issue, flex item center, and provide a gap of 2. That's it. So now you can find it's gonna be as a similar fashion. But now, where is our current parameter? Well, you can see anything in the current. So that is the question right now. As you can see, we are having that current page. Did we okay, if we have item.href, okay, now if we can initialize that, because now we are having a page here. So now only if we just move forward like a backward, here it will not be seen, but here it will be available. And you can see, okay, now it's chosen, because before we just moving that. So now if we go in that edit profile, it will go directly for because it will not be available there. But you know how to hit on that particular instances. If we hit the order, it will directly go in the order, and the same thing is goes by. And then let's go back to the account. So right now, that is a simple parameter to align it and design it all together. So what we're going to do, we're going to go back directly in our account page, which is fundamentally going to provide us a new setup of menu and new setup of ideas by which we're going to showcase our entire menu segment. And pretty much everything it's going to capture the before value, right? So as you can see, if we go directly back, just back on our layout, on that account menu here, and whatever the parameter we have been taken, so I will just copy those. So you can better like keep it in an context value, like keep it in an for what we can say, we have the constants directory here, so you can directly pass that value in the data. You can put the data right here. It's up to you. I'm just going a little bit of faster so that it's gonna make a lot of sense. So now we can also bring that icons right here, and this here I'm not gonna make it as a use client flag, because right now I'm gonna just go directly wrapping through, make it in a very easy and very good looking. So what I'm gonna do right now is that, so instead in that div over here for the particular page, I'm going to make that another div here. I'm going to make that accounts menu dot map, and everything going to be coming as an item and also as an index. And over here, we're going to just return the value should be coming as a link parameter. That's it. And then we're going to just simply return an span tag, which going to be item dot icon. Okay, not to be like that, because gonna be JavaScript icon, and here the key should be index, and also the href should be item dot href. That's it. So we should be able to see our icons, entire icon segment, and after icon should be having a p tag going to be like that item dot title. So the title value should be coming as a line and side by side. Provided class name bj should be, let's say, tick underscore white. So that's the background colors. I think that's pretty much the background color right now, so that will be no issue. And I'm going to make it a grid, and grid call should be 3, and md should be grid columns of 4, and then gap should be 3. So that should be 3 particular scenario. As you can see right now, it's showing the 4. If we go, it's gonna be showing the 3. So now we can design it all together. For the link itself, I'm going to provide a border so that it's going to be coming showing a little bit of a border of sense. And here should be flex column property like on top, bottom, and also item should be center, justify should be center, and then padding should be 4. So this is the manual padding for instances right now, but we're going to have a like a more padding for MD screen. Padding should be, let's say, 10. So it's going to be a bigger view of the padding. And then I'm gonna make a shadow of MD. Okay, should be MD shadow, rounded MD. And then also whenever we hover, the border should be, let's say, take underscore blue. And we're gonna pass that hover effects. Okay, so that's the similar. As you can see, if we go directly in our accounts, that's the similar effect which you're having, as you can see. Okay, cool. Now for the icon. For the icon, it's gonna be also put a class name. Padding should be, let's say, 3. Text should be LG, and BJ should be take blue, and that should be an 10% of opacity inline block, rounded full. Okay, so that should be wrapping it entirely all together. And you can, I think, no need to passing that 10%. We can make that 40%, and then we can see if what's it gonna be looking like. So you can adjust it the way you feel better, but I'm gonna keep it 10% too. It's just making a simple color ratio. For the class name, let's say text should be extra small, and MD text should be small, and font should be semi-bold. That's it. So now, as you can see, done our entire segment. Also, I think the icon, yeah, that's icon. Okay, I think for the icon, it's very simple. I think I forgot to put that. I'm going to just put the blue text. That's it. I think that will do the things, whatever is recurring right now. So if we go here, yeah, good. So we are having everything. So now let's go back directly in our homepage. So now what we need to do is that we need to go bring up the cart portion. So we now starting building the functionality by which we can start doing the business. So to do that, we're going to go directly in our cart segment right here. So let's just go and make one. Let's go over here, app client. We're gonna make a new page here. Should be cart/base.tsx, and RFCE should be coming the cart. Okay, so let's say cart page. That's what we can do. So now remember, the cart page gonna be entirely as a use client parameter. And why is that? Because remember, the certain portion on certain motion is like that. The cart page, we're gonna get the data from the state, right? So what we can do right now, we're gonna go directly back to our let's say components, the pages. We can just get another pages called the cart, and on that page we're gonna create a component. Let's say it will be cart page client.tsx. So that's the page which gonna handle all of our cart data. So in that div, we're gonna just simply pass that cart page client. Actually, the div mean nothing, so I can remove that. So okay, what I did, okay, I need to get that one right here. Okay, so now we have the cart page. So we're gonna bring everything in that cart page. If we go directly look on the cart page, what kind of thing gonna be running here? You can see the data gonna be shopping cart right here and the others. But before going further, I think I need to make this one the this one, yeah, this need to be bringing it all together, because that's what is easy for us to navigate wherever we are moving forward. And as you may see, this is entirely working in our layout, especially in our root layout is actually happening, and it's not in a root layout but in our client layout. So that's where we need to work on that. So if we just go in the client, in that layout, that should be coming here, and we're gonna just make that should be coming as a, it's going to be called a link badge. So I'm going to go in the common, I'm going to create a new file which is going to be link badge.tsx rfce. So that badge going to be imported right here. After the header should be passing that link badge. Okay, so in every page right now you can see that link badge gonna be after the after the parameter. As you can see, that should be at the top, and the same thing gonna happen for anywhere we are looking forward to. So we're gonna make that things quite clearly right now. So let's go back to bring everything right here, and in that link badge, as we are going to handle the route setup, we're gonna make that as a use client parameter. And after that, I'm going to just go and throwing that everything because it's gonna be making a lot of sense. So let's say use path name from the next navigation, and here we're gonna just making a path segment, which in the path segment we're splitting by / because we can have a multiple path, then we are / and the filter gonna come in as the boolean value. So right now, remember the beforehand what I was looking forward to tell you that. So now we can make something very much unique right here. So in that return value, so I think that will not be returning anything like that. So how we can go and initialize that? So now what we can do, first of all, if we're gonna first bring off without the account. Okay, so now we're gonna call that if we have that, let's say path segment. So right now I'm going to log the path segment so you can easily see what's actually going on. Log path segment, not like that, segments. So if we go directly in the inspect, yeah, you can see it's the cart. So it's just removing the / cart, right? So if you go any page, if you go directly right now in the account base, that / account / account. So we have two separate route segment, especially for the account, right? So if we go directly here, let's say I'm gonna type account by account, you can see a different thing gonna just you see account dot account, so it's gonna coming as an array. It's just separating the value directly together. So that's what the path segment actually is working. So now what we're gonna do, if the path segments segments dot length is bigger than 0, means it's having the value, only then we're gonna return what we're gonna return. We're gonna return a simple parameter of div, and that div gonna just returning in the container value, and in the container it should be having a link parameter, and that should be coming from the next link, which gonna holding the home icon. And for the link, that href should be href should be / home, as it's gonna be an home icon. So right now you can see our link badge, the icon is right here. So now we need to make it looks much more bigger. For the class name, bj should be take white, and also padding y should be 5. So it's gonna be providing a bit of room in the container. For the class name should be a flex, item should be center, gap should be 2, and text should be, let's say, small text gonna be provided for everywhere. Okay, and for the link parameter, we are just gonna passing that instances, which gonna okay, what's wrong here? What I did wrong? Okay, we just get yeah, that hover text hover effect. You can see similarly like that. If we click, it will directly back to us home. So which gonna what we did. And also for the size, we can provide a size as 17. I think, yeah, 17 quite good. Small size is enough. Now after that link here, we have the path segment, right? So we can now map to it. Segment.map, and over here we're gonna just get the segment, we're gonna get the index, and from there we're gonna just pass the value. First of all, we're gonna create within the fragment. Okay, fragment, that's the empty braces, the same thing which is actually happening. You can make the empty braces, or you can put that fragment just to be initializing that. So now I'm gonna provide that index for the key. Okay, fragment, where is the t? Here is the t. And in that fragment, we're gonna provide a span tag over here. The first one, fragment. Okay, I forget the t need to be imported from React. So now, as you can see, that route segment is coming here after the span tag. we're gonna make that if the index is equal to, let's say, path segment dot, and we're gonna provide the length, and then if -1 value, then you're gonna do something, otherwise we're gonna do something. And if it's a -1, what we're gonna do, we're gonna just simply pass the last segment, which actually is happening. So that should be the last segment, and for the current page, which is gonna be highlighted. And for the previous segment, we are just gonna passing that our previous segment property. That's it. So what actually is happening, so if this is going to be the last segment, so now we're having a multiple page. We have the account, then we have the order. So the account order, so if we just go directly in the account, so that here you can understand it a bit of better way. So let's go, why it's not bringing back to me in the account page. Let's say, oops, where I'm going. So let's say /account. Okay, I need to put that image here, and you can see two together account. If I go directly in the orders, you see account orders. So this is the first segment from where the initial route is the -1, the first value which is coming there. What is the minus value? We have the two parameters, so we are just getting the rollback, the previous 1 2. We are providing the 1, this will be the page it's coming through, and the 2 is the current page which is right now in. So that's the segment which we are handling. So right now that's how it's working, but the problem is that, as you can see, the accounts that should not looking much better. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna just make that for something for the account route, which only gonna happen for the account routes. And what it's gonna do, as you can see, if the path dot includes account, I think if I just remove that, I will go with that, let's say /account, right? So now if what's gonna happen, if we just make that account, so let's just passing that one, you're gonna see a single account. And what we are just making that here, the path that includes account, only account, right? Then what we're making the minusing the last account parameter, because we have the two account route /route there. So whenever we're gonna click, it's gonna just rendering. If we click the orders, whenever you're gonna click account, it's gonna get back to our account, right? So that's, you can change here, and the same design pattern and setup is right here. You can change the way you feel better, but for me, I think that is enough to go with that. So right now, after that parameter, what we need to do is that we need to go and bring up our cart page segment to make it looks better and work it all together. And to do that, first of all, we need to have our, let's say, all the parameter, because this gonna be as the page for our use client flag. So entire segment gonna be as a use client. Right now, what we're gonna do, we're gonna bring our property, like a lot of value gonna coming up and a lot of things gonna be pouring it all together. First of all, we need to provide that so many things which need to be bringing from the used car store, where you're gonna coming for the delete card product, get total price, get item count, get subtotal price, receipt, card. So this is the segment which gonna work it all together. And also we're gonna just providing some of the more segment here which gonna be just working as a state parameter. So state, and here I think the address query result. Okay, for the address, I'm gonna just making it minimize right now. Okay. Use user need to be coming from the clerk, and use car store, I think that will be fine. Yeah. Okay, so right now what is happening is that we're getting our loading state, we're getting our grouped items from the used car store, and from that get grouped items, we're getting our user from user, we're getting our coupon set, we are getting our voucher, like the voucher code parameter. So right now what we can do, we can just initiate, we're gonna fetch the address, because as you can see, whenever we're getting, we can select the address, right? So we need to fetch the address together from the user parameter. We're gonna fetch that, but first we're gonna show the product and the other details by which it can also make a lot of sense to go by. So yeah, okay, good. So right now what I'm gonna do in that parameter of that instances, we're gonna just pass that container, And over the container, let's go back to our page. And over the container, I'm going to make that, let's say if we have that grouped items dot length is bigger than 0, means we're having the items, then we're going to pass that as something. It should be passing calling that, let's say I'm going to just an empty braces, putting an, let's say another div or something. Then we're gonna, if there is no product at all, like there is no grouped items, we are going to showcase another one. Let's say I'm going to just provide a div right now, and that I'm gonna say empty cart. Okay, just to align by. And over here, whenever we are providing that properties, let's put a div. Okay, let's I'm gonna go and initialize a div right here, and on the div we're gonna provide a shopping bag icon, and then we're gonna provide an h1 tag which gonna say shopping cart. That's it. So that's the value, and as you can see, it's responsive. No, so now let's go put a class name. Flex item should be center, gap should be 2, and padding y should be 5. That's it. And over here for that one, put a class name. Text should be large text, and md text should be 2xl, not large, the xl text. And font should be, let's say, semi-bold, and for the shopping bag icon, I'm going to provide a height of 5, width of okay, should be class name, height of 5, width of 5, and then let's say also md, I'm going to provide a height of 6, the initial value, md height width of 6. That's it. So the same thing's going to be appearing right now. So as you can see, there should be happen to be something better and bigger. So as you can see, our entire segment over here, the page props and other value, is having certain kind of background color, right? But over here, we are having entirely white color parameters. And why do so? So we need to go and create a certain parameter which can provide the colors and others. And to do that, we will go directly embedded in our entire root segment over here. So this is the layout which we are having. And over in the body, we can just go put some class name here, which is gonna initialize our entire value properties to make it looks better and work in a sense which we are looking forward. And that should be, let's say, bj should be tick, bj color. And as we did so, we should be grabbing that color property. You can see that's there. So we got the color. So right now, as we're having the color and others, now we need to initialize the way we are looking forward to. Remember the color of in the container here. First of all, we're gonna just make the class name, and let's say padding y should be, I'm gonna make it a 10. So the top bottom 10 of the gap. And for the container, let's put a class name. bj should be take white. And also mt, or I think the padding y, or I think my should be, let's say 5, to provide a gap. My, I think the py, it would be better to go by. And then also we're gonna make that, let's say rounded should be empty. Okay, so now we know there should be our shopping cart, the similar of that. So now we're gonna bring that our property value to provide in that cart. So let's just go and put a property like the cart item property, and there should be two value. You can see there should be for the mobile devices, and should be also in the mobile devices the table is not there, the other parameter, then the other parameter. So this is two separate consequences gonna happen together. So we're gonna also bring that two instances. So right now after the div, we're gonna have, let's say it's gonna be for that desktop, and that should be table view. Okay, so over here I'm going to provide a div, and that div we're going to having a table on that, let's say t head, and on the t head should be table row on there. That should be first, there should be that image and others. So I'm going to just bring that t head all together so you can see what actually we are meaning to make that things here. So first t head, which I'm going to make it bigger so that you can see it properly. So that's the table head, right? So that's in the table head. We're going to also providing that like the gray of 50 border B, and in the table row, I think, yeah, on the table row is just providing that a T head for the table property item. So it's the image, product name, model, quantity, unit price, total, and that action. So providing a padding Y of 3, padding X is 4, and text left, and the other one the text right, then the text right center, text right center, just to get align it all together. You see that should be aligning it in a perfect layer so that it can be more understandable. And for that table, which is going to be I think the width of full, and also we're going to provide that, let's say we're going to go directly here at the div here, put a class name. By default it's going to be hidden, and MD should be blocked, so the medium screen is going to show, and overflow X should be auto. Background color should be, let's say, take white, and then we're gonna make that rounded should be LG. We're gonna provide a border, and margin bottom should be 6. Okay, so that is the value ratio which we created, and as you can see, similar pattern, the similar self right here. So I think you can see what actually we are building is that we are making a table pattern value where we can just go at the table. So now we have the table head, so that's the actually the table head, so that's the center of the head parameter of the table. After the T head, we should be having that T body, and on the T body we're gonna have that grouped items dot map, and over in the map we're gonna take everything as a product. So that's what we're gonna concat together, and from there we're gonna pass that value, because now we need to also get the item count, so we can directly return that, because every item, as you can see, that should be the quantity. So you can just add item here. I think it's getting more. Okay, yeah, you can see we can add quantity, so that's the one we need to handle. So we need to get also the quantity parameters. We're going to break it together so that it should be coming like that, const item count, and that count should be coming get item count, and from there we're going to just simply pass that product dot, and that should be passing that underscore ID. So with the ID we can actually get the product, and as you can see we can get every single product should be passing as a product, and there it can be just lowering the error, and it can be okay with that. So right now I'm going to minimize that, because I'm going to return the value from here, return, and over here I'm going to return a table row, and that should be let's say table row, and in that table row putting a table data property, and here we're gonna first, let's say hello, just to show you. Okay, hello, and over here in the table row put a key which gonna, let's say it gonna be, let's say product product dot underscore ID. Why the value props? I think, yeah, the similar pattern which gonna be handling together. So right now you can see we have the 5 products, we can 5 hello together, right? So instead of that, we need to pouring the different items. So what we're going to do in the table data, if we having that product dot image images, so that could be a multiple images here, but we're gonna render a single image, right? So if the product image is available and should be and we're gonna having to pass a link property value, and over here we're gonna just render our image tag from the next image, and in the image tags the source should be, let's say, SRC, and that should be coming from URL4, and over here should be passing that product okay, where am that product dot images, and we're gonna get that first images, and then we're gonna get that dot URL. Okay, it should be outside dot URL. That's it, we're gonna get the URL, and over here put a key. Over here the href should be like the sim of that single parameter. Okay, href, and on that href gonna go with that backtick, and that should be coming that product / we're gonna pass that value for that product dot slack dot correct. Okay, and for the image we need to provide certain kind of things to make it looks better, so we're gonna just pass that value property, the one that should be coming aligned together as the product image with 80 height width border rounded MD, and object should be cover. So that's how we're gonna render it all together. Okay, done. And for the table D over here, we need to make something better to be passing on that. For the table row, we're gonna provide a class name should be class name, and that should be passing the border B. And by the way, you can still using the table from that like the Shadcn UI. I'm not using it because I'm trying to cover the multiple segments so that you can understand it a little bit better and in a good way. So now over here for the table data, we're going to provide a padding Y of 4 and padding X of 4, or you can just simply go off that padding of 4. That's what it means, right? So we are having the padding. If we click on that, it should redirect me directly to the certain motion of that a single page parameter by which we can just go and view the details of that product. And that's where we are coming right here. So let's go back there. And now we're gonna bring back the other parameter here. So this is the one table data here. So now this should be coming all the table data segment, nothing fancy, just gonna change the tag and style. So here the same thing, you can see the padding, either I think one would be enough. If we just put in one parameter, that should be enough, but I love to go with that altogether. So you can change. I'm keeping at padding Y, padding X, so you can change wherever you are feeling better. That should be the product name. As you can see, they're providing the product name, font medium, hover, text primary, transition color. So that's just, you can make a primary, or you can just make that hover text should be, let's say that gonna be take blue, okay? Instead of that, we can just simply make that hover effect. That's it. So like that. Now after that, after the product name, we should be also passing the variant. So that should be another portion, the variant. The product variant going to come in as the model. So the gadget, appliances, or the gadget, I think the same. You can do with that similar properties if you are feeling good with that. Now for other parameter, gonna having another table data, and on the data we're gonna pass a different things, which are going to be passing a div, and then we're going to pass that quantity buttons. And on that quantity buttons, we're going to pass the product as, let's say, I'm going to passing that entire products right there. So we're going to have that entire quantity button segment. And over here, let's say we're going to provide also put a class name of flex, justify should be center. So it's going to be coming as a center line, the same thing which is going to happening right here. And also I'm going to go with direct instances of that just to keep it aligned all together. Okay. So after that, we're going to also coming back with the unit prices here, as you can see. So what we're going to do, we're going to having two separate value. So one should be coming a table data, another data gonna returning that price formatter value. These things we already created. So the product price is right here. So this is the unit price, and then we're gonna also grabbing the total price property. So after that, that should be just item count. Remember the item count we are having here. So this is the item count. So every time we're gonna go and fetch, if we click, you can see that is changing. So we are just grabbing the item count. Whenever you're adding, that's the unit price, that's the item count. And now after that, we should be having last one button, and which gonna help us to go by to make what's the things we are looking forward to. First of all, I'm gonna get the trash icon right here, and on that, that should be, let's say it's gonna be a function. So whenever we're gonna click on that button, I'm gonna remove that, just comment that handle on click. So whenever we click that, as you can see, what it's gonna do, it's gonna remove that product, right? So that's the function which gonna help us to go that. Do that, we're gonna just passing that value here. So we're gonna declare that function at the top. Let's say go at the top right here, and here we're gonna make that function. I know I'm making certain things of copy pasting because you know how to do it already, right? So that's why I just don't want to nagging through with that. So that we are receiving the ID because we are passing the ID from there, and then that should be making that delete product card, and here we're gonna pass the ID, and also we're gonna pass a toast dot success message, and that will contain, let's say, product deleted successfully. That's it. So now if we go any of the product right here, if we click, you see product deleted successfully. So this is the thing for the bigger screen. If we go smaller screen, MB screen, you see, because everything gonna be hidden. But we need to create a certain kind of design. As we are having the desktop table view, now we need to also have a mobile card view. So I'm gonna just, we can do in the simple parameter, but I want to make it a little bit unique so that you can understand the things in a pretty good way. So I'm going to go and create a view props here for which going to be helping to bring everything for the mobile devices. So that should be another div, and I'm going to just pouring that because that's the same property, same design ratio, nothing fancy and others. So what actually is happening, okay, I need to get the card first. Okay, what actually is happening, that is going to be a card design, and the same thing, everything going to work the same fashion. And here, as you can see, by default is empty, it should be hidden, space y is the 4, and then we are mapping again with the group items, and then we are grabbing that item count for the product ID. We are getting that from the state, and in that card we are just manipulating the card, providing the ID that should be value on that, overflow hidden, and then product, we are passing the product image and then the link of the name. As you can see, the same parameter. This, you need to understand only the parameter. This the image, right? And that's the product name. So this is all together coming within the div. So this is the one div here, then the other div which contain the unit price. So two div together, right, side by side, like in flex column properties. So two div together, one is coming with that product image, and there another is coming for the current name and the model name, which the variant, and also coming with the button together. All are coming in between in that, just in that flex property. And in the next one, coming with that what we are calling that to make that for the property, the unit price, total. That's it. That's it. The unit price, quantity, and the total. So that's what we are doing. It's pretty simple to go on that. Now what we can do more is that when we do that, we can have an apply coupon code, apply voucher. So right now we're gonna, it's gonna be a dummy segment for it because we are not gonna implement that one, the value. So I'm gonna provide that to you, and the code, it will be with you, so no worries. There should nothing to be worries for that. So over here, after that mobile devices, we're gonna just go and create another div. Over here, it's gonna be passing that for the coupon data, and okay, that should be for the coupon. For right now, I'm going to just keep the coupon like that. It's going to be as a dummy design. You can entire the coupon segment if you are like to, but for me, I'm going to just skip that one right now because there is a lot of things to cover. But I'm going to keep the segment for you so you can have a try. You can just feel free to try, either you can do it or not. On click, apply coupon, I'm going to just minimize that. Okay, and also apply voucher. Okay, right now I'm going to just minimize that, and arrow left. Also handle receipt card, I'm going to just minimize the property right now. Okay, cool. So if we save, we should be happen to be see there. So that's the continue shopping and visit card button, and the apply coupon. When you click and apply coupon, the apply coupon should work, and that should be getting the coupon, and that should be getting the voucher of that. For the receipt card, so that's the button which we are looking. That's only the button property. Apply voucher and other things I'm gonna keep separate. And on that handle receipt card, what I'm gonna do in that's the real question is that. So on the receipt card, it's gonna be, let's say that should be passing and handle receipt card function. And in handle receipt function here, we're gonna define the property. Let's say we are not letting that whenever we're gonna click, anyone can delete the entire card, by mistake or something, but so that we're gonna get the confirmation here. So the confirmation gonna come in that window.confirm, and on that confirm, we're gonna pass the message, are you sure to receive your card? So that's the message. And if the message getting the confirmation, yes, I want, then we're gonna pass that receipt cards function, and also we're gonna pass that post.success, which is gonna say as your card receipt successfully. Oops, that should be like that. So now if we click on that receipt card, you see pop-up and receipt, and empty card is coming here. So over here, when the card is empty, we need to make it as an empty parameter. So we're gonna create a new function which gonna say empty card.tsx, so RFCE. So that will help us to bring back our empty card statement. When there is no product in the card, we can show it directly. There is other parameter, of course, we're gonna cover up, but first we're gonna just finish that. And empty card, how we can make that things happen. So this is the empty card, and the empty card going to be coming right here. So over here, right? Empty cart. Okay, so on that particular empty card, what's actually going to happen, I'm going to just bring it back up to you guys so that you can just go and fetch directly there, and also need to be imported certain kind of parameter. Okay, done. So now it's having the motion from the framer motion, having the empty card image, and then link and shopping cart icon. So let's see, that is the message. Your card, okay, what is that? Okay, your card is feeling lonely. So that's just going to passing that a padding y, and as you can see, that's just in style, and putting a motion here, opacity 0, and view and animate opacity 1, and getting the duration of 0.5. And for the motion, for that image ratio, you can see we are providing the scale value to just go in infinite loop, which is going to be easy in out. Then we are providing the image here, and also it's going to be a relative, because the absolute property is going to be aligned for the shopping cart icon, and that's also providing that animate for the X portion and the Y portion, and the repeat, which is getting that infinity and duration 3, and also coming as a linear version. And then also we are happen to be providing the absolute value for the properties of the shopping cart. Then your cart feels lonely, and the message, it looks like you haven't added anything to your cart yet. Let's change that and find something, some amazing products for you, and then discover products. As you can see, if you click, it will automatically take to you localhost 3000 in our homepage. So this is how we can combine it all together. So now, yeah, I know I can write entire thing, but the design is just simple as it is. You can just post the video and then copy that and write it. And by the way, you can also find that every single code, which it will be available, be part on that like the GitHub repo in part 4. So entire code, it will be with you, so no worries about that. It's just a design parameter. So right now, after that, as we are having initializing the others, so as you can see, we are passing this property for the coupon value. Now we need to set the other property. This is the important one, which gonna be our order summary. So this is the most important one here, which gonna handle to bring our data. So let's add some more product here so that we can start building that. Okay, we have the 4 product. Let's go back to the card. So right now we're gonna bring back the summary portion right here. To bring the summary, we need to, and over here, we're gonna make 2 things here. We're gonna make that as a grid, and that should be MD grid calls of, let's say it should be 3. Yeah. And also gap should be 6, empty should be 6. Now I provide that grid 2 over here. So the card summary gonna get the 1 grid here. So for the card summary, let's go, and yeah, we can make simply, instead, I think the div will be fine. Okay, we can now make that card value here, and after that we're gonna make that card header, and on that header gonna passing that card title, and that will say order summary. So that's the order summary we are having here. And the card also getting the class name. BJ should be, let's say, tick underscore white, tick white. Done. So that's the background color which we are providing. And then we're going to provide that our card total. Here you can see the value. We have the subtotal, discount, total price. So it's the 3 value. First we're going to bring that. So over here, after the card header, we're going to provide that the card content. On that card content, we're gonna first provide another div, which gonna get that spend tag, and that should be a subtotal. And on that subtotal should be passing that price formatter, and on that price formatter gonna coming that amount. So should be get subtotal price. So get subtotal price, which gonna provide us the subtotal price right here. And if we directly go in our used car store, you can see the get subtotal price actually getting the entire price. You see the discount, which gonna like getting multiplying with the discount and providing that subtotal price. So this is what actually also it just bringing it for us right now. So now here is the subtotal price, and on the div instances provide, I think for the content here, I'm going to provide a class name, which going to be, let's say, space y should be 4. So that should be providing a gap in between. And I think the gap it's, I think, yeah, that should be visible. And for this one, the div here, put a class name flex justify between item should be center. So you can see the value right here. Okay, cool. Not bad at all. So that's the one parameter here. And after that, there should be the another parameter. So this is the one that should be the second one. So it's gonna be discount amount, get subtotal price minus get total price. So that's the discount value here. And after that div, we're gonna use a separator, and so that should be providing a line here. And after the separator here, the same thing gonna happen, passing that another div here, which gonna get that get total price. So now we know what the total price is right here, and total price, the price format to make the text LG, font bold, text black. So now we can see the value here, right? So after that initial div, there should be our addresses property going to be address. So that should be coming here, and after below the address we should be happen to be passing one button. So that should be a button, and that button gonna say, let's say it should be confirm order. And actually it will not be something like that. It should be passing within the value of the loading. If the loading is there, then it will say, let's say, processing. If the value is not here, it's gonna say confirm order. And also it's gonna pass that whenever visible, whenever the loading is running, it should be visible. And also put a class name that should be, let's say, width should be full, rounded should be MD, font should be, let's say, semi bold, and tracking should be wide, and also margin top should be 4, right? And we also make the size of the button, which going to be, let's say, LG size. So should be okay, I need to post that larger size of the button. So this should be happen to be make that confirm order. And also we need to pass a function which gonna make that handle checkout, or you can say handle order, whatever you feel like to make it. So let's go at the top. We can now bring that together. So that should be post handle checkout, and that should be an asynchronous function, because we will talk with the database Stripe where we're going to work. And that should be, let's say, I'm going to just provide a log right now, or you can just make that, let's say, toast.success button pressed. So that's just for right now, nothing else. So as you can see, as we did that, right now what we can do, we need to bring back our address here to put it together. First, we're gonna bring the address from our database, or we can say from the Sanity. And to do so, first of all, let's go at the top layer right here. So as you can see, we are having to separate a scenario where we are actually putting the address data layer right like that. So right now we are doesn't having any address data layer. So if we just go, and instead of that, we can just simply pass that address, and we're going to bring back from the Sanity, and the same thing going to happen for all others. Now after that, after this parameter right here, we can now create a function which going to help us to fetch addresses. And of course that also will be an asynchronous function, because we need to wait a Sanity's response. And first of all, we're going to make that as a set loading parameter, which is going to be true once we are just going to run that function right here. And after that, we are just going to show the error once we are having the error itself. And also in the finally parameter, what we're going to do is that to make the set loading as a falsy value. So it would be first the fetch address should be false once it's just running like that. Now what you're going to do, we're going to create an query. Okay, so the query is equal to, that should be a simple query by which we can just bring the address right now. Right now, we are not gonna make so many dynamic addresses, because it should be coming according to the users. But right now, we're just going to pass and dummy addresses, but later on, we can formulate that one according that user that address going to be fetched. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to just simply pass the data here, so which can help us to get the address. As you see, we need to fetch it up from the client, which gonna coming from Sanity lib client, and from there we are fetching the address, and the default address going to be whatever the address which having that address dot default value. And here we're gonna just simply, and you can just go and upload, like you can grab that for the address type. Here you can see we have a schema called default. The value should be somewhere here. So this is the address, and that's the email, street address, city, zip code, and that's the default. So that's what we are looking forward. We're gonna keep the default one as for the current address, and if there is that default addresses is there, then what we're gonna do, set selected address should be the address, should be the default address. That could be in that way. And if there is no default address, what we're gonna do, we're gonna just simply pass that set selected or we can just, instead of else, we're gonna just else if there is the data dot length. Dot length means it only has a single address, or you can see the bigger of 0, right? There is default address. Else if we can also pass that if the data is bigger than 0, we can just pass the selected address of that. Actually, that's not making any sense, but you know, if we didn't pass any default address, it can initially grab the address by default one. And also the address should be a type of address. That's it. So now we need to call that fetch address somewhere where we're gonna find that to make, because this is a use client formula here. So we need to get that fetch address code within a parameter of the effect value. And now if we just try to log our addresses, so let's say grab the addresses, and I'm going to just inspect here to see if we receive anything related to the address or not. So that would be handled right here. It's loading, and after finishing the loading, we can just see we get the 3 addresses which we are setting back before. So right now we no need to have that log, so we can now pass that addresses to be put a value within our parameter. So we're going to go downward right here, so should be bottom of it. So after the total value here, so that's the div finish right here, then we're gonna pass that if we have that addresses, and only then we're gonna render. If there is no address, it will be similarly be nothing. Now what we need to do is that passing that value here. So first of all, I'm going to get a div here. On the div, put an h3 tag which gonna say delivery addresses. That's it. So there is right here. Now for this one, I'm going to just put something here. For the class name, margin top should be 4, and that h3 text class name font should be medium, and also margin bottom should be 2. That's it. Now it looks quite good. And now after immediate here, so that's the div finishing right here. So now we can go and create a radio group, because there we're gonna put that a chance by which address can be selected, and we are just going to pass that address dot, we're gonna map through individual addresses, and from there what we're gonna do, we're gonna return a div here, and the div gonna contain a radio group item, radio group item, not indicator, radio group item. I think that should be, yes, radio group item. So in that item, we are going to also passing that, let's say there should be the value. We're going to pass the value. The value should be, that should be coming up in that norm. So we need to provide two separate parameter. One should be coming as the value, another should be coming as the ID. And here we need to provide the key parameter. Key should be address underscore, because the address is going to be a type of address. So underscore ID. So now, okay, I think where the property map doesn't exist, this should not be, because we are passing that if we are having the addresses, then only the address. Okay, this because here once we selected set addresses, that should be coming as an array of addresses, right? So after that, it should be, the error should be disappear. Now we can map through the parameter, right? And here we're going to just make some of the class name here. So the key should be ID, and so the radio group is going to take the property. Now the default default value should be the value of okay, we need to provide within JavaScript syntax. So the addresses dot find, and we're going to find that, let's say, ADDR. So within that address parameter, that should be ADDR dot default. So the default address going to be there, and that should be coming up with a dot ID, and there it's here, and then ID dot to string value. So that should be our, like, say, the default value. So now you will see no changes right here, but the changes it's gonna happen for us later on. And for the class name, it's gonna be space Y, and that should be just as a 2. Now for here, as you see the radio group, after the radio group, we're gonna have that a label parameter, so that you can see that things is pouring up together. So in that label, we're gonna put something very fancy. First of all, it's gonna have an span tag, which gonna say it should be coming up of that addresses. So the address dot ID. So now you can see that ID is right here. So but we are not showcasing the ID because it would be not highlighted, but of course we're gonna make that one not to be seen. You know, we can make that, but this one is not required. So we're gonna just put that address dot name. That's it. So first one, you can see the hometown, so the tab is working perfectly. And for the label, also for the label, we're gonna just pass that ID value here. So for the HTML parameter, we're gonna just grabbing that ID value, and also for the class name, we're gonna make okay, should be okay. What's wrong here? Oh, that should be outside of the parameter. I was just within that parenthesis. So now it should be, let's say it's gonna be making a grid, and gap of the 0.5, and should be flex 1, and also text should be SM. So something is a side by side, but it's not that much side by side because there should be some other effect too. There should be another span tag, and here it's gonna be coming off that address, or I can just pouring that, because there we're gonna keep the city and keep the zip code all together. So that should be similar of that. So they are coming the address of that. I think this empty parenthesis is not required. So you're gonna have the addresses address and address of state and the zip code. So the address, state, and then zip code, so all are coming and pouring all together. And for this address parameter, for this one over here, we're gonna just make some of that. The text should be extra small, text muted foreground, and line clamp 1 2, so it can be maximized by 2 line. And then put a class name here. I'm gonna make that font should be semi-bold, just to align that one right. So after that, as we did, so now for the label, I think for the label we should okay, so there we need to work a bit here, because as you see that radio item, I think here we need to make things clear. Okay, because now here what we're gonna do, we're gonna make that one as a property value of, I'm gonna go with the backtick. So first of all, it's going to be a flex item should be center, and the space x should be 2. Okay, should be space x should be 2, and after that cursor should be pointer, so you can see the value as the side by side. And now we're gonna set something very clear and very interesting. First of all, we're gonna go with that the $sign and the selected address dot ID. It must need to be equal of the ID which we are passing that address dot ID. So if this is coming all together, then we are going to pass some value, and we're going to make something of that. Text should be take orange. So that's the text we are going to pouring that. So you can see the text is coming. So this is the default value. We know once we click, nothing gonna happen because we didn't run any function yet. So right now, as you can see, Okay, here it should be similar like that. We need to pass and the other parameter too. So the first of all, that should be coming up. So this is the div here. So after that, whenever on click on that parameter, should be, let's say it gonna coming set selected address, going to be whatever the address we're gonna click on. So right now, if we click any address, you can see right now, okay, cool, that's coming on that particular point and on that segment. Now here there is a very interesting parameter, especially once you go in the radio group. I want to manipulate the things here. So as here, as you can see, the slots parameter, what actually are passing that, I think we can just modify. You see the circle icon. So instead of the circle icon, we can simply, as you can see, that circle icon is passing here. So I don't want it to be, I'm gonna remove that circle icon. I'm gonna put a check icon. So that could be my preferable. And of course, I'm gonna also put a class name here, which can individually make it similar what I am looking forward to. Putting height of h 3.5, width 3.5, fill of the tech orange and text tech orange. You can see that's what I was looking forward. And once I change, yeah, it's now changing. Okay, okay, yeah, now working. So of course, one thing which I'm not using, I'm going to remove, and you can do the same. Whatever parameters you are not using, you better remove it. Otherwise, once we're going to deploy the application, we're going to have some minor error which will not be so cool. So right now, what we can do here as that, as you can see, if we go in our handle checkout button right here, so this is our handle checkout. So right now we can just simply just keep it like that, because later on we need to come back here and initialize the checkout. So that could be hold for a bit, because we are having a lot of other parameter. Users also need to be commented right now, because also we need to wait a bit to grab that to be in that kind of attention. So now we're going to go in our shop parameter. I'm going to close everything. As you can see, we are not having any page called shop. So that's the fallback right now. So I'm going to go in my pages. Okay, now here in my client, and on the client, it should be aligned it all together. So on the client, I'm going to create another file, which will be shop.page.tsx and then rfce. So that will be rfce. Okay, that would be our shop page. So as you can see in our current shop page, here is so many things going to happen. Our entire segment right here, entire property value, our like say sorting filter and others. So a lot of things, a lot of params gonna coming back all together to make it better, make it reliable, and it gonna be working together very, very good way. So we're gonna fix that and we're gonna implement right now.